Hi, I'm A.C.Strange and this is the Bad Movie Show, episode 23, the classic black and white show. In this episode I'm doing 3 black and white horror movies. I'm a firm believer in you can't know where you're going until you know where you've been. Or you can't write the future until you're well versed in the past. Meaning that the old stuff is worth watching. So I have 3 black and white horror movies that are still worth talking about. So let's get started. First up, The Bat. 1959, not rated, Front Row Entertainment, screenplay and directed by Cream Wilbur, starring Agnes Moorehead from Bewitched and Vincent Price. So in this, author Cornelia Van Gorder is spending the summer in a mansion called the Oaks, which is rumored to be haunted by a bat-like man with no face and claws. And then we have the owner of the mansion, John Welling, who's also the president of the Zenith Bank, and his Dr. Marcus Wells. They talk about the embezzlement of $1 million, and only one of those men make it out of the conversation alive. Then we have Miss Cornelia and her maid are trapped in the mansion one stormy night with this bat-like man and a few rabid bats. Miss Cornelia is trying to solve the mystery of the murders of a few ladies in town, the mystery of the missing $1 million, and who the bat is. This is creepy, definitely classic 1950s suspense, and the ending was a surprise. I thought the music was good, and I have to say that I grew up learning about Vincent Price, and when I was a kid I thought he was creepy. But now as an adult watching this movie, Vincent Price is suave. He got some mojo. He still is great, even though he is gone. So I'm going to give this movie a 3, and this was pretty cool. A little slow at times, but it's 1950s suspense, and we don't mind that. So I thought that was good. Next up, Frankenstein, 1931, not rated, Universal Pictures. Adapted by John L. Balderstein from a play by Peggy Welbling, based on Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and directed by James Whale, starring Boris Karloff, Mae Clark, and Colin Clive. Dr. Henry Frankenstein is in, and his servant Fritz are digging up bodies, bringing them back to his laboratory. He's cutting them up and reassembling them to a human body of his design. One night his fiancée, his friend, and his mentor go to his lab to talk him into coming home for his wedding and hopefully institutionalizing him. During that night there's a big storm which he's been waiting for, and he reanimates his beast, and his experiment works. His fiancée goes back home to tell his father, the Baron, that Henry needs more time. But the Baron is not having it, and he goes to check on the doctor and confront him, and that's where it gets interesting. This movie is 82 years old and still creepy and scary and exciting. This is damn well near perfect horror movie. And definitely, if you're a horror fan, you should own this. This is Horror 101. Everyone should see this. So go out and buy it and put it in your collection. So this was great. And I love that that movie's that old and still fantastic. You know, it really says a lot about the filmmakers and the actors back then. Great movie. Last but not least, Todd Browning's Freaks, 1932, not rated, MGM Pictures. Screenplay by Willis Goldbeck and Leon Gordon, directed by Todd Browning, starring Wallace Ford, Layla Hyams, Olga Baklanova, and Roscoe Ace. So in this, Hans and Frida are two little people in Madame Tetralini's circus, and Hans has eyes for another woman, Cleopatra, peacock of the sky. And she uses Hans for gifts and money until it ruins Hans and Frida's relationship. Okay, she eventually marries Hans for the fortune he's inherited. And during their wedding, the freaks decide to make her one of them and share a loving cup during the ceremony. She gets pissed off, freaks out, throws him out of the tent, and humiliates Hans by treating him like a baby. The freaks are not having it at all. They find out her plan for Hans, but Hans figures it out for himself and makes plans of his own. So this movie is incredible. It's amazing. All the freaks in this film are real. They're all real. The conjoined twin lady, the bearded lady, the half a man, the worm man, they're all real in this. Okay? And this is creepy and scary, sometimes funny and entertaining. This is incredible. 81 years old, and this is still great. And I have to tell you that if they ever remade this movie, I'd be in Hollywood hitting people with this frickin' DVD, kicking them in the shin and hitting them. This should be left alone and should be watched now. Okay? Put this on your list, put it on the top of your list if you haven't seen it, and if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. This is the crowning jewel of my collection. I give it a 5 and recite it. This film is also seen in other films, and a lot of it you could hear in, you know, some songs. So I really love this movie. It's fantastic, and like I said, 81 years old and still scary. Okay, this is great. So that's it for me tonight. You got to know about an old black and white horror movie worth seeing again. Please let us know. Comment down below. And watch more movies. I'm A.C.Strange, and this is the Bad Movie Show. Good night.